Hello there! Yes, the desk is clear and it's that time again. It is Sunday, the 27th of August 2017. Welcome to episode 4 of series 2 of Andy's Shed Live. We are coming at you once again this Sunday evening, and we have got a packed show for you today. One of the things we're going to be doing today is we are going to be taking a look at these things over my shoulder. Yes, push button telephones. Have you got a push button phone? Sorry, got itchy nose. Have you got a push button telephone there? An old GPO or BT push button phone. We're going to be showing you how to identify the different types. Excuse me. And I knew it was going to be one of those days when I got up this morning. We're going to be identifying the different types of push button telephone. And we're going to be showing you which ones will and which ones won't work in the modern day. So that is all to come. Plus we are going to be talking Heritage Open Days. What's it all about and what are we doing for it? We'll be telling you all about that as well in just a few minutes time. And remember, if you want to get in touch with us, then you can do. All you have to do to get in touch is to go here, andyshed.colepress.net, and you can find on that website all the things that we've done on the show, and you can find a contact us page as well, so you can get in touch with us should you want to. And remember, if you want to support the show and give us a few pennies every month to keep us on the air, then go here, patreon.com/AndyShed, and you too can become a patron of the show if you want to do that too. And if that wasn't enough, we've also got the chat room. It's there, look, there it is. Yep, the chat room is there. If you're watching us live on YouTube, you can just click on the live chat thing, and you will be able to get into the chat room there, and it'll come up on the screen when we've got it on the screen like that. But we don't always have it on the screen at the side there. But if you want to say anything to us live, get into the YouTube live chat. It's there for you to use. So get on with it if you want. How's that then? It's cool, isn't it? Right, so what have we got coming up today? Well, today we are going to be looking at these phones here. These are push button phones. They're a bit like GPO dial phones, but they're actually push button ones. We're going to be showing you which ones do and don't work on the modern system, because there's a lot of different varieties of them. So if it's confused you like it confused me, stay tuned. You are going to want to see what is coming up. But talking of phones, do you remember when we were talking about intercom phones a little while ago? We put a video up on the site, on the Andy Shed YouTube channel a while ago, asking for help about what looked like ordinary dial telephones but said intercom across the middle of them, and they got a lot of the connections and that cut inside and extra connections made, and a few extra resistors inside them and all kinds of weird things like that. And we were asking you if you could tell us anything about them. We got a pair of these phones, and they got a little slot in them for a battery and all kinds of weird things, but they were basically a basic 706 phone, a GPO 706 phone. And we wondered what these phones are all about, and I've since seen others that are exactly the same, with exactly the same conversion. So we thought somebody must have been doing this for a reason. It wasn't just a homemade job. Somebody must have been doing this for a reason. So we put a video up about them, and then a couple of weeks ago, Graham Yates got in touch with us, and he told us this. He said these phones were sold in BT shops in the late 1980s. They came boxed as a pair with 30 metres of cable and an instruction leaflet. I think BT had the contract with an external company to create them. It might have been Remploy. It says, I think BT refurb factory was being wound up by then. I could be wrong though, they may have been produced there. He goes on to say they were a retail product, so BT sales officers couldn't handle orders for them, and there was no installation service offered on them. Although there would be an electronic solution to retain the bells, I believe the decision was taken to strip the bells out, install a buzzer and doctor the internals so customers couldn't connect them to their line. Interestingly, I knew a BT engineer who used to produce his own intercom sets in a similar style, which he donated to local schools. He used to use a 9-volt battery in each, and I think he bought a ringing unit from an American company which could drive the bells. So that's what Graham told us about these phones, and I thought, oh, that's brilliant. We now know what's happening with them. We now know what the story is with these phones, and they were apparently sold in the BT shops in the late 1980s, and they'd been cheaply converted to intercoms from ordinary 706 phones because BT at the time had got a lot of 706 phones kicking around that they weren't going to use, that had been refurbished. So I asked Graham about the batteries. I said, well, mine's got 2 batteries. If they've been put together as an intercom, surely they only needed 1. And Graham went on to confirm this when he got in touch with me again. This is what he had to say. He said, only 1 battery was needed per pair. The dials were left in for signalling. Turning the dial makes them buzz. This was cheaper than fitting a button or modifying the cradle switch. I'm dredging the memory banks here, but as I recall, there was a glut of 706 tellers that had been wiped up. That is, they had been fitted with new cases and line cords. They were kept in stock for use as maintenance replacements for some PBXs and plan sets, but the arrival of Statesman and Viscount phones and the Ambassador ESS switching system spelt the death of plan sets, and the 706s just weren't needed. Hence the intercom project. Needless to say, they were produced as cheap as possible, and what a great way to use up those old 706s. So thanks for that, Graham. Thanks for telling us what went on there. So the intercom phones were a proper BT thing at the time. So watch out for them. They say intercom in the middle of the dial if you happen to see one around, and all the ones that I've ever seen are grey. And there's a little hole in the top of them where you put a little 9-volt battery in too. So thanks for that, Graham. I now have a bit of a dilemma though with these phones. What do I do with them now? Do I keep them as an intercom set and try and get them to work as an intercom, or do I restore them as 706s? That is the question. So if you would like to tell me what you think I should do, then get in touch with us. You can either get us here in the live chat. If you're watching this after the event, then down below here somewhere in the comments you can get in touch with us, or remember, you can always get in touch with us on our website. There is andyshed.coldpress.net, and you can send me a message on the contact us page through there. Okay, so that is that. Now, on to what we are going to be talking about today, and that is these things. This is a push-button telephone, very similar to the dial phones that BT had, or Telecom had, or the GPO had even before that in the 1960s and 1970s. But they eventually wanted to go over to having dials. I mean, to having push buttons rather. And this is what they came up with. This is the push button phone. Now there are various versions of these. If I unwrap this, you'll be able to see a little bit more. There are various versions of these push button phones around, or were around, so I'm going to try and go through just some of them with you this evening. and let you know which ones will and which ones won't work if you happen to find them, because you probably will find quite a few of these about. So we want to know which ones will and which ones won't work on your normal telephone system. So here it is. So there, as you see, it's just like a 746, a GPO 746, and indeed it is the same case, but the dial has been replaced by an extra bit of plastic, this bit round here, and then that's got holes in to take a keypad, as you can see, like that. So there are lots of different versions of these around, and I need to now get my bit of paper just to begin to tell you a bit of something about them. Now, of course, as always, what we are looking for here is we are looking for the numbers that are underneath the phones. If you turn them upside down, you should pretty much always find a number, something like that. In this case, the number appears to be TEP 610804, and it's a GEC phone, this, and we can see that because if I move that cable out of the way, you can see the old GEC logo just there. Can you see that? And this one has actually also got a very nice GEC logo on the outside. I don't know if I can get it in the right light, but there, can you see that? It's in silver. There you go. And this phone's a bit grotty. I've not restored this one yet. I have put a line code on it, and just to make it work, just to prove that it works, but I haven't actually restored it yet or polished the case or anything. So there's a number of these that you can get. There's a number of different types of these that you can get. So we're going to go through some of them tonight. Right. So one that you can get is this one. Okay. This one here. Now, this is a 2746 GNA, made in 1978 apparently. It's a not a 2746, a 2764. It says underneath it. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that? 2764. If I switch to the other camera, you might see it better. Look at under there, look. It is a model 2764, yeah, and GNA is the company that made it, and it says on it, use battery secondary, number 23 underneath it. Well, this particular phone, it's a toss-up whether it will or won't work if you find one of these, because to make the keypad work on these phones, they used a battery. There was a battery inside here, and it's a rechargeable NiCad battery, I think it is. And the problem is, after all these years, those rechargeable batteries, as with all the rechargeable batteries, have been charged and discharged so many times that they've basically died. So you will need to get a new battery for one of these. So if you find one of these, a 764, then I'm afraid it may or may not work, but you can replace the batteries, and I will show you how to do that a little later. So that's a 764. Now these look exactly like a 764, don't they? They look exactly the same if I hold them all side by side, yeah, but they're not. These are two more different types. The first one that we're going to have a look at is a 755, and if you look under it there, you will see the number 755. If I get it on the other camera, right, see that? 755 there. It starts 755 and it's a Gen 26 it says, but 755, that starting number, that's what you want. So this is a Teller 755. Now that's a 755. It will work. The 755 will work. It doesn't need a battery because the keypad on here is powered by the power in the line. So a 755 will work. But this 755 is wrong, because a 755 isn't a phone like this, it's a phone like this. A 755 is basically a 75, like a 755 sits that way up, like a normal phone on your desk. It's the desk version of the 755 basically. So that's what that is. That is the desk version of the 755. So that's a 756. Again, it's powered by the line, so it'll work. So a 755 and a 756 will both work because they're powered by the line, no batteries involved. Now, next one that we come on to is this one here, and this one is a little bit different. This, underneath it you'll find this number. It's made by GEC, TEP 610804, and that meant nothing to me, and I searched for it on Google and couldn't find anything about it. But then I took the top off it, and on the inside of this phone, and you'll have to take my word for it this evening, on the inside of this phone was a little sticker with a wiring diagram that said GEC 746 on it. Basically 746 710, I think it said 746/710, but the wiring diagram wasn't for a 746/710 because it showed a wiring diagram that didn't have a dial. So I thought, are GEC calling a 746 just this generic shape of phone? They're not actually calling 746s 746s, they're calling anything that is this generic shape a 746 in their own world, GEC. So I thought that must be what's happening. So I decided to wire this up exactly like you would wire a normal 746. So I put the line cord on the way you would put the line cord normally on a 746, and hey presto, it worked. So this will work. So if you find one with this code on the bottom, with this TEP 610804 on the bottom of it, and it's GEC, that one should work. Just wire it like an ordinary 746. And indeed you wire the others like an ordinary 746 as well. The 7, what did I say they were? The 755 and the 756. Just wire them like an ordinary 746 and they should work for you. Okay, so that's another one that works. Alright, I'm going to wind the cord up round this again because I've got so many phones here and so many line cords that I'm getting a little bit tied up in them all. So that one will work. Now the interesting thing about that GEC one though, that I've just shown you, is it's not pulse dialing, it's tone dialing. It uses the modern tones, and if you look at it, it's got a star and a hash key. So it will work on your modern telephone networks fully, and you'll be able to do your things like your internet banking and all that kind of stuff with it, which is the only thing really I find that I want a modern phone for these days. Because you know, when you say press star and press hash and that, when you get onto these automated systems, if your phone hasn't got the star and hash, you're a little bit snookered. So that one will work, that GEC one. Now BT did also, or Telecom, or the General Post Office, or whatever you want to call them, they did also do their own version that would work with tone. If I can grab one out here, just bear with me a second. I've got to grab this out because it's wired up. Here it is. Looks the same, doesn't it? But this one, when you look underneath it, is a Tele 8782. If I get under there, can you see on that sticker here somewhere, and it says Tele 8782. I don't know if you can see that or not, it's written a bit small. And this is also a phone that should dial using pulsers. I mean using DTMF rather instead of pulsers. So if I pick that up, this one should be plugged in. Yeah, it is. I don't know if you can hear that. And if I dial on it, can you hear that? Did you hear that? Don't know if you did or not. Oh, there's the thing telling me it's off the hook. If I do that again, if I hold that up to the microphone, and there you go. You can hear that dialing the tones basically rather than the pulsers. So that will work. So that is the latest version that BT or Telecom or the GPO, whatever you want to call them, the names that they've had over the years. This is the latest phone that they did before they all changed shape, and it is a 8782. Now the 8 just means it's fitted with the modern line cord. I'm guessing you could find a 782 without the front 8, without the first 8, just a 782, and that would be one that was hardwired in. But because this has got a plug and socket type line cord on it, then it's an 8782 rather than just a 782. So they work as well. Right, I'm just going over here again. See, we're not organised today because there's like phones and that everywhere, and I'm in a very, very small room. That's my problem. Yeah. So there you have it. That is that one. But let's go back to the one that we were talking about. This one. Right, this is the, if I'm looking at my sheet, a 2764, and this is the one that has a battery inside it. After this short break, we are going to be taking this phone apart and having a little look inside to see where the battery is and how you change it. So we'll be back right after this. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to Andy's Shed Live for this Sunday the 27th of August 2017. Wow, the summer's flying by, isn't it? Now, before the break, you may have remembered that we were looking at this phone, the 782. No, not 782. The 764. Yeah, 764. That's the one. We were having a little look at that one, and basically what this phone does is it dials out using pulse dialing, but it's got a keypad rather than a dial. But to make the keypad work, because it was one of the very first keypad phones, they hadn't invented a way of using the power from the phone line at the time. So what they did with these very first keypad phones was they used the power from a battery that was inside the phone. So what we're going to do is we're going to have a little look inside here. If I move all this stuff out of the way, and we will show you the battery. So I'm just going to unwind the line cord and that, and there underneath it you see is the telltale that it needs the battery, because it says 2764 GNA, which is the code for the company that made it, 782, which is the date, so it was made in 1978, and it says use battery secondary number 23. Now battery secondary number 23 was a little blue battery that the GPO or Telecom, whatever you want to call them, had on their parts list. So let's have a look inside it and see what this battery is all about. So we take it apart the way we take apart a normal 746. There's a screw in the back here which is sometimes retained, sometimes not, but it has also got a spring behind it. Now that has just clicked out on the spring, and if I let my screwdriver go, you'll see there that's against the spring. Is it retained, this one? Yes, it is. Some of them have a nut on the back of them, some of them don't. But now I can take the top off, take the receiver off obviously, and you can see this particular one has got a little nut on the back of there. Can you see that nut? Some of them don't have that, so be really careful that you don't go and lose that, because if you lose that nut, it'll be a bit harder. You'll put the case back together okay, but when you want to come and take it apart again, you might have problems. So if that nut's there, it makes it a lot easier. It means that you won't get your case stuck on your phone. So alright, I'm going to put that to one side for a moment. And here's the inside of the phone, and you'll immediately see this blue thing, which is different to an ordinary dial phone or anything you might open up. And this blue thing is indeed the battery, and you'll see all the extra electronics on the keypad as well, but they are really just on the keypad. If you were to undo this screw here, that keypad would all lift off just like a dial lifts off in a dial telephone, and you could probably convert it to a dial phone if you really thought about it, but we don't want to. We want to keep it original, so here it is. So this battery is dead, we think. Doesn't work, this phone. So there's a little spring-loaded clip here, if you can see that. As you look at the phone from the back, as you look at it kind of that way on, the little spring-loaded clip is here on your left-hand side. You just pull that clip back, and then you can just lift the battery straight out. Right, you see that? I'll do it again, just so hopefully you can get a better view of it. Just pull that clip back, and then lift the battery straight out like that. And then the battery itself is on a little connector here. You just pull that connector apart. It can only go one way, so you know you'll not get it wrong. And what you would ideally want to do is, ideally, you just want to get another one of these batteries. Now I don't know if you can see on the top of there is writing on the top of there. And I don't know if you can read it or not in the light. Yeah, but basically it says VARTA PO number 23 192030, and then date, and the date on this one is February 78. So no wonder it's had it. If this little battery's been around since February 1978, there's no surprise, is there, that it's not working anymore, that it's not holding a charge anymore. Now what I'm told you can do, a phone enthusiast has had a go at one of these, and what he's done is he's cut round the top rim here of it, round here, with a little hacksaw, a junior hacksaw. Don't cut right through it, he says, just cut into it enough that you can get a flat bladed screwdriver under it and ping this top off, and get this top to come off, which is sealed on. You know, it is sort of glued on, but just cut into it enough that you can get a flat bladed screwdriver under it and ping that off, and then you can get the cells out and change the cells. Now I'm not proposing to go into how you change the cells tonight, because quite frankly we'd be here till morning probably, because I've never done one before. But I am going to be getting some new cells for one of these, and I will make a video of it, of how we do it and how we change the cells inside there. So of course what you would then do, once you've changed your cells, you would glue the thing back together or whatever, or hold it back together somehow. Just plug it back in again, drop it back into place in the carrier, and connect it to the phone line. You don't have to charge it up. What you do then is you just connect it to your phone line, and then your phone line will charge that battery. Okay, your phone line will charge that battery over a period of time, maybe over a day or so, and then your keypad should start working again, because this keypad doesn't work at the moment. It's completely dead. Interestingly, with a dead battery, it will still make incoming calls, because the keypad isn't used for incoming calls, of course. So you'll still be able to get incoming calls on it, you just can't use the keypad to make outgoing ones. So that is how you get the battery out of a 764 battery secondary phone. Okay, so that's how you do that. And then of course the top goes back on in the normal way, and I can't lie to you, these are fiddly. You have to hook that bit of the front under the front edge, so you have to kind of go at it like that, back, and then down with the back, and you'll find that the buttons probably get in the way a bit, so jiggle this bit on the front about, because this bit on the front will move around a bit, see? So if the buttons get in the way, you might have to jiggle that around a bit. So there you go, you see, the buttons are indeed getting in the way there. Jiggle it around, and then down it goes. Do up the little screw in the back again. And hey presto, there it is, all back together. And then the thing that I do with them, I always wind the line cord around them like that, basically just to get it out of the way, because obviously I've got 4 more phones than I ever have plugged in at any one time, and that you just tuck the plug in behind there like so, like that, and there you have it, nice and neatly done. Okay, so that's the little battery that's inside one of those. So if you open one of those phones up, or a derivative like that, or any phone, you find one of those little batteries in, and it's sometimes a red block. There are some phones that have red ones in, some phones that have blue ones. They are slightly different phones, and you do have to get the right coloured battery for that phone. You know, a blue battery won't go in where a red one's been, and vice versa. You have to replace blue with blue, red with red. Okay, but we will go into what you do exactly with those phones in due course. So that's how you do that. Right, it's almost time for another short break, but when we come back we're going to be talking Heritage Open Days. What on earth is all that about, I hear you ask? Back in a moment. Hello there and welcome back to Andy Shed Live for this Sunday the 27th of August 2017. The time is around about 7:38. If you've just joined us, welcome to the show. Where have you been? We've been here since 7 o'clock. Where have you been like? You know, what time is it like? Right, one last thing before we wrap up for today, and this is one of the new things that we are going to be doing is a thing called Heritage Open Days. Now you may have heard of Heritage Open Days, but if you've not, just let me explain what it is. Heritage Open Days is a thing run by the National Trust. It's overseen by the National Trust. And it's an initiative where lots of interesting places up and down the country that would not normally be open to the public throw their doors open for up to 4 days in September. This year Heritage Open Days is between the 7th and the 10th of September, so a couple of weeks to go. It starts on the Thursday, finishes on the Sunday, so it's 7th to 10th of September this year. And lots of places that you would not normally be able to go into, you can go into because they're taking part in Heritage Open Days and they're opening up to the public. So it might be old private buildings that may be being used by a company. Maybe it's an ancient factory or something, like an old mill or something in the north of England that's still in commercial use. But just for these few days in September, it opens up its doors to the general public. Also, there are lots of special events taking place, lots of special tours and things all over the country where you can learn more about history and heritage of the area that maybe you live in. And I'm going to be taking part in Heritage Open Days once again this year. I did the drain spotting tour of Sheffield last year, which was a tour that went between Walkley and Broom Hill, where we took people walking along looking at items of historic street furniture that were still in place, embedded in the pavements and walls and things, and some of it was a couple of 100 years old. So it's things like post boxes and manhole covers and old cast iron lamp posts and all that kind of thing. And the tour last year was mega successful. So this year we're doing two. In the afternoons at 2:30 each afternoon of Heritage Open Days, we are doing the tour at Walkley again. But new for this year, in the mornings, starting at 10:30 a.m. each morning, we're doing a tour around Mearsbrook Park on the other side of Sheffield, around the Mearsbrook Park and Heeley area. So if you want to go along on either of these tours, like all Heritage Open Days events, these tours are totally free of charge. Just turn up and enjoy the event, whatever it is, the tour, the open day or whatever. It's all free of charge. Now, the tours are running each day of Heritage Open Days this year. So that is from Thursday the 7th to Sunday the 10th of September. The Heeley tour, 10:30 in the morning it starts, and the Walkley to Broom Hill tour starts at 2:30 in the afternoon. Both tours take around 1.5 to 2 hours to complete, and there's plenty of time if you want to go on both, that you can do the Heeley one and then you can get yourself across Sheffield to the Walkley one as well. So that's what we're doing as part of Heritage Open Days this year. If you want to find out more about it, there's a couple of websites you can have a look at. We have set up a website ourselves for it, which you can find at sheffieldwalks.colepress.net. So that's our own website for these two walks that we're doing. That's sheffieldwalks.colepress.net. And if you want to find out more about Heritage Open Days in general, then the national website for Heritage Open Days is heritageopendays.org.uk. So that's sheffieldwalks.colepress.net to find out about our two historic street furniture tours, or drain spotting tours as they're called, around Sheffield. And it's heritageopendays.org.uk, which is the national site for Heritage Open Days, where you won't just find what we're doing, but you'll find what everybody else is doing as well. And there are literally hundreds upon hundreds of different events taking place, and they're all free. So hopefully we will see some of you guys out there at the Heritage Open Days this year. Right, that about wraps it up for today. A big thank you to everybody who has been in touch with us since we started this brand new series of Andy's Shed Live. Particular thanks there to Graham for clearing that up about those intercom phones as well, and giving us that bit of information. As I keep saying, if you want to get in touch with us, there are various ways you can do it. Remember, we have the website at andyshed.colepress.net. You can get in touch with us there, or you can leave a comment somewhere down there in the comment section on YouTube. Or remember, you've also got the chat room live when we are on air as well. If you want to ask us any questions in there, feel free to give it a go. And also, you can find us on Patreon as well. We have now got a Patreon page. Now, what Patreon does is it's a website that allows us to make a little bit of money back, and allows you to contribute to the shows, to make a donation to keep us on air, and basically allow us to do a little bit more than we do already. You become a patron, and your contribution will go to help the production of the show, but also you will get various goodies depending on the amount that you become a patron for. So if you just give us, let's say, £1, then you might get access to some special extra videos that not everybody else sees. Give us £5 and you'll get maybe something a bit more than that. You'll get access to those extra videos, but you might also get like a newsletter or something like that as well. So Patreon kind of steps up. The more you give, the more things that you get, and it steps up. And if you give a bit more, you're going to get a yearbook from us and things like that. But if you want to find out exactly what you get, then get on over here to patreon.com/Andy's Shed. And you will find all kinds of goodies that you can get on there for a very small monthly donation. And that's all you have to do, a monthly donation. It doesn't take money off you every time we make a video or anything like that. You can plan it out. It's a small monthly donation that you give to become a patron, and it helps the show, and it gives you a little bit of something extra in return too. So it's patreon.com/Andy's Shed if you want to give that a go. Right, that really is it for now. A big thank you to everybody who has helped us out this week in preparing this episode. And we will be back very, very soon. Now, next week there is no show next Sunday, because I am out and about next Sunday at the tractor day over at Hedge Windmill. So no live show next Sunday. Okay, it's going to be missing next Sunday evening. But having said that, we will hopefully be putting up a non-live episode either late on Sunday or sometime on Monday of next week, when you'll be able to find out what we got up to over at the track day at Hege Windmill, which happens next Sunday. If you want to go along, if you're in the Hege area in Derbyshire next Sunday and you want to go along to the track today, it's happening there all day. Pop along to Hege Windmill, and the volunteers there, I am sure, will be very pleased to see you. But until next time, and we are back in a fortnight. Hang on. Yes, we are back in a fortnight live with all the aftermath of Heritage Open Days. Wow. Then we'll see you then. That's all I can say, really. I'm sorry, I'm a bit lost for words. I'm getting a bit tongue-tied today. But until next time, a fortnight today, remember, catch the non-live show next week, but the live show is back directly after we get back from our Heritage Open Days events a fortnight today. So that is going to be busy, to say the least, but we will be here, I promise. So for now, bye for now.